This afternoon, Manchester United secured another valuable 3 points with a 3-0 win over West Ham United, inspired by some of the best young players currently in the Manchester United system. The question is, how did they do it? Let's take a look. So today we're wasting no time, we're diving straight into the tactics, and we're going to start with Manchester United trying to play the ball out from the back, where of course things would start with Onana. And I thought the plan here for Manchester United was actually fairly interesting. Basically what United would do would play the ball one way, for example towards the left hand side. From here, West Ham applied more pressure than what I personally was expecting. There was players squeezing high into the final third. Bowen would come over, Johnson would press high, Ward-Prowse and even Souček. They were pressing quite high up the pitch. However, United did have a solution to this, and it looked a little bit like this. Basically, when Luke Shaw got the ball on the left hand side, Lisandro Martinez would then make the movement forward past him, and what this does is it drags Jarrod Bowen out of position. What this then means is that Luke Shaw has a free pass to come this way, either to Onana or all the way across to Harry Maguire. Now when Maguire gets the ball and he steps forward, we can see that United are now 3 versus 2 against the West Ham players, with Maguire, Dalot and Kobbie Mainoo up against Souček and Kudus. And I actually thought in spells United did actually work the ball out from the back better than what I was expecting, because West Ham pressed higher than what I was expecting, so I thought it might be a bit more of a challenge for the players in red. But I thought for large periods of the game, they dealt with it fairly well. Having progressed the ball from the back quite well, the next question for Manchester United was, could they control the ball in the middle of the pitch? Could they really dominate the game and therefore then look to break down West Ham? Well, we'll come on to the answer to that properly shortly, but start off with what was Manchester United's approach in these situations. In my opinion, it was a fairly decent approach. I didn't mind the in-possession shape, which often looked like some form of kind of off-balance 2-3 shape. So we'd have Lisandro Martinez and Maguire at the back, and then let's say Luke Shaw has the ball on the left-hand side. We'd see Casemiro here, and then either Kobbie Mainoo, Diogo Dalot, or Bruno Fernandes inverting into this deeper position here next to Casemiro. The important thing here is that we have 2 players in the second phase ready to receive the ball. So this is something which we saw against Wolves, granted in a slightly different shape, but it's still a positive thing to see, 2 players playing in the second phase. So in my opinion, that is a plus. And as a result, United did have situations where they could pick the ball up in these areas, move the ball once again from left to right, and again what we can see is that United have the numerical overload in the build-up phase, able to outnumber the West Ham players, meaning that when the ball then goes in here, now they can hurt West Ham moving the ball forward. Diogo Dalot in particular had an impressive game on the ball, moving forward into these positions, and now once again, once Kudus is beaten, we can see that United do have the numerical overload in the middle of the park, allowing United to move the ball forward. So once again, this is a positive, and we're going to continue with the positives for now, because as Manchester United moved the ball forward, we then even saw Rasmus Højlund dropping into link up, really, increasing the numbers that Manchester United had in the centre of the pitch. This is a good thing. Rasmus Højlund played very, very well in this game. His link-up play was brilliant, and he's really developing in these areas. Last week, I challenged him to improve his ability to hold off a defender. He's certainly done that in his game. I thought his link play was brilliant. What this allowed United to do was move through the West Ham side and then eventually work the ball out wide, where Rashford would take the ball up against Kufal, and at times he would take him on and beat him and get into the final third. But also importantly, at times he would wait for support. That could be Luke Shaw overlapping into the final third. It could be Bruno Fernandes into this sort of position. And we also saw third man runs as well. So Fernandes would make a ball, drag Zuma out of position. Now Rasmus Højlund can get the ball. And that's a really good attacking pattern. It's something that United should do more of. Something else we saw was that United could work the ball down the left-hand side and draw West Ham over. And then eventually the ball could go to the far side to Garnacho, who I felt was more aggressive in his duels. Not quite as balanced as Rashford, a bit more aggressive, but obviously it worked for him. He scores 2 goals from doing it. The second goal in particular is a good example of this. Although I must add, Diogo Dalot makes a really good selfless run into the final third. So these are of course all positives. We can see in the average positions, Manchester United have a much more secure, compact shape, and also the likes of Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro were largely safe with their passing, allowing Manchester United to keep the ball. So in my opinion, I think all of those things are positives. The question is, if we were that, fairly positive in possession, why did this happen? Why did West Ham manage to have double the XG of Manchester United and around double the amount of shots as well? Because the possession shape implied that United could control this game. There's players in the second phase, there's close connection points, the wingers weren't overly aggressive in their duels, yet West Ham had a foothold in this game and Manchester United did not control it. The question is why? So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, jerseyfifa.com. the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off when you order. Well, it comes down to a defensive thing. In my opinion, United were poor out of possession, high up the pitch. For example, when Manchester United lost the ball, I just didn't feel that the team was intense enough. We know that Rasmus Højlund likes to put the pressure on, and he done that. But the players around him let him down a little bit, in my opinion. For example, the ball could come into Alvarez, and 2 or 3 times Alvarez was able to turn away from Bruno Fernandes. He nutmegs him at one point. Alvarez had the beating of Bruno Fernandes, particularly in the second half, and that was a problem. The other problem was that Marcus Rashford just wasn't particularly intense in his duels. So when Kufal gets the ball, Rashford isn't overly intense in trying to win the ball back. And down the other side, again, Garnacho is often tasked with marking both a centre-back and a full-back, which means West Ham can work the ball like this, pop it around the corner, Emerson can carry the ball forward. So whilst United's possession shape was much better and they were improved on the ball, the reason that United couldn't control this game was because defensively the structure still wasn't good enough. So of course, we need to praise Erik ten Hag for his possession structure. He made positive changes, he done the same against Wolves as well. Positive changes have allowed United to look better in possession, particularly with Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo. However, defensively, things still aren't quite right. However, I say that, we kept a clean sheet in this game, and most of West Ham's XG actually came from set pieces. So, if Manchester United's defensive structure wasn't that great, how did we manage to keep a clean sheet, apart from a really good bit of play from Dalot and, some good Onana saves? How did Manchester United do it? Well, it goes down to Erik ten Hag's team selection. Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez starting the game at centre-back together. When we saw the game against Wolves, we saw Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez, and we all thought that was our best back four. So there was a little bit of surprise that Harry Maguire came into the team. However, it really, really worked. And this was because these deep players from United were aggressive, even if the front players weren't. So, of course, to cover the negative side of it, the negative thing there is that if your front players aren't intense, but your back players are, the opposition can at times play through you. And West Ham did do that, and they did have chances in the final third. However, we saw for the first goal, for example, Casemiro being super aggressive, winning the ball back high up the pitch, allowing United to attack, and that's really positive. The other positive, like I've said already, Lisandro Martinez and Harry Maguire. Anytime that West Ham did get past our forward players, which was quite frequent, let's be honest, was quite frequent, Lisandro Martinez and Harry Maguire are two defenders which want to defend on the front foot. They're two stopper defenders, aggressive defenders, players who want to nip in front of the opposition. Now, a lot of the time, that leaves space in behind your defence, which can be a concern. But in this game, it worked, and Ten Hag deserves credit for this, because every time the ball went into someone like Ward-Prowse, Lisandro Martinez was there winning the ball back, and Lisandro Martinez was absolutely brilliant. On his injury, let's hope that it's okay. That damage to the knee, a different injury to his previous one. Fingers crossed, we pray that he's going to be okay. We'll just have to wait and see. But to go back to the game, Jared Bowen getting the ball, Harry Maguire was there all over him. Kudus gets the ball. Dalot was there trying to get him, trying to win the ball back. And I felt that the United defence actually played well. So the structure, in my opinion, needs work out of possession. The intensity of the forwards, not good enough. The spacing between the players, probably not good enough. But the aggression of the defenders worked really well. And then when United were deeper defending, which was the case quite a lot in this game, I thought it was pretty decent. We had Casemiro in particular doing a good job of either dropping into the back five or, marshalling these channels. I thought he had a good game from a defensive point of view in deep areas. Higher up the pitch, he still gets caught out occasionally. But overall, I thought he done okay. West Ham will probably feel that they should have scored a goal or two in this game, and they will feel a little bit hard done by the fact that United were so clinical in this match. But overall, in my opinion, Manchester United done enough to win the game. In possession, like I said, there were the positives. We played out from the back pretty well. I thought our structure in the middle of the pitch was good. That back two or back three shape, but two players in the second phase. That's important. Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo then keeping the ball for the side. That's important. Then we were able to move the ball through the middle of the pitch with Rasmus Højlund dropping and linking the play. That's very good. We got the ball out wide. Rashford done well. Garnacho done well. The fullbacks supported them. Third man runs from the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes caused all sorts of problems, and we allowed Rasmus Højlund to get some of the ball. The negative of the performance, defensively, the pressing high up the pitch wasn't good enough. And when you don't press high and you don't win the ball back well, you do give teams, like West Ham, who have good players, you give them a sniff of the game. You give them the chance to get the ball, when your players are caught high up the pitch because of a poor pressing structure, you do give them the chance to move forward, and that was a problem for United. So my overall review of the game, fairly, it was quite a quiet game almost. It almost never really got going. It was never played at 90 miles an hour, and it wasn't the most dramatic game compared to what we've seen recently, which is why this is a little bit of a shorter video. But in general, I think there's positives to take from the possession structure in particular, and that is progress that the side has made in the past 2 or 3 weeks really. Defensively, still work to do, although in deep defence, pretty good. Let's see what Erik ten Hag does in the next game, but in terms of for this video, we are finished there. So let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Who was your man of the match? For me, Lisandro Martinez, Maguire, Diogo Dalot. It would be one of those three, showing how good they done from a defensive point of view, perhaps how much defending we had to do as well. But let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you think it was Rasmus Højlund? Was it Garnacho for his 2 goals? Constantly a threat on the right-hand side. Let me know what you think. What were the positives of the performance? And also the negatives of the performance. And let me know all of that in the comments down below. Apart from that, we are finished though for today. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.